Okay, well, welcome everyone. Ooh, somebody else got their microphones on, or what's going on here? Getting all kinds of feedback. Anyway, the first thing, there's got to be something going on here. Okay, are we going fine now? Okay, I just don't want all the feedback. But anyways, I want to start off by recognizing a former counselor for the city of Brooks who passed away, and that is Bill Prentice. I had the opportunity to work with Bill for 14 years. He was he was excellent. He knew every pipe that was in the ground. He knew every water line that was in the ground, probably because he spent, how many years, Don? 42 as managing down there or something like that. And he probably put them all in, I would think. So, but anyways, he was a very, very good, I would say, probably one of the best that I have ever seen advocate for the city of Brooks. And as such, what I'd like to do is just give one moment of silence for Bill's passing, because it's, I think, extremely important. So if you'd join me in 1 minute of silence, it would be appreciated. Thank you very much. And just as a reminder, Bill's funeral service will be on the 13th at 2 o'clock at the Heritage Inn, if anybody is wanting to attend. The next item is I would like to acknowledge the traditional territories and oral practices of the Blackfoot Nation, which include the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, the Métis Nation, District 4, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. We are making this acknowledgement to demonstrate our continuing efforts to work together as we strive for reconciliation through increased and collective learning. And the first thing that we have on the agenda is staff introductions. So we'll invite Tabitha up to give us some introductions.
Through the CAO to the council, we have a few new faces in the recreation department. Two of them are able to be here today, so I'd like to introduce you first to Abdi. You want to stand up? He's our Recreation Operator 1. He started his life in Kenya. Him and his family have moved to Brooks when he was 7. So raised in Brooks, and is excited to have this opportunity to interact with the public and use this as a stepping stone into a career in criminal justice. Second, we have Arwin. Arwin has been part of our community for 16 years, originally from the Philippines. He comes to us with a lot of custodial and mechanical expertise, so we're excited to have him on our team, and he likes to be a part of our team and just the camaraderie that we have in the rec department.
Excellent, thank you very much. And welcome Arwin and Abdi to the city of Brooks and the Recreation Department. The next thing I would like to talk about is a lot of different events that occurred within the city over the past week or two. We had Christmas in the park, and we had the fantastic Kinsman Parade, and I want to thank Kevin and Barry for making sure that the streets were cleared, because I don't think I saw a vehicle on the street this year blocking the view of the pedestrians watching the parade. Also, I want to thank probably the credit union for having hot chocolate out there, because that's always my first stop when I go to the parade out there and the Christmas in the Park, is to get some hot chocolate. So, you know, I was very happy with that. And the next one was the tree, the light up of the tree. Man, what a fantastic event. There were so many people out there to watch that tree lighting ceremony. It was incredible. And late night shopping, as I walked through the town, everybody who was shopping their hearts out was fantastic to see. Also, we had Rotary Radio Day, and they said that they raised the most money that they've ever raised. Inter Pipeline and the radio station raised $45,000 or 2,250 turkeys. And I always remember that thing on WKRP, and I keep on thinking about those turkeys being dropped out of a plane, but fortunately that didn't occur. But all of those turkeys were going to the food bank and to adopt a family need. So they had great support for that. We had the Festival of the Trees, which was very well attended, and those monies were going to Bella, or the Brooks Early Learning Academy, and Ronald McDonald House. And there were an awful lot of other events that were occurring that I'm sure that I've missed. But the support that the community gives to all of these events is super fantastic. So the next thing I want to get into is the agenda. And I'll ask on the agenda if there's any items to add or delete from the agenda.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, nothing from administration.
Okay, thank you. Can we have an adoption of the agenda? Mohammed? Thank you. And that was all in favor? Carried. Thank you. We have the minutes from the Organizational Council meeting, November 3rd, 2025. And we have the regular council meeting of November 3rd, 2025. We have a motion to approve the minutes, and it's moved by Councillor Falkenberg that the minutes from the Organizational Council meeting and the regular council meeting held November 3rd, 2025 be approved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Any business arising out of the minutes? Okay, seeing none.
Mr. Mayor? If I could, I just wanted to make a statement in regards to the theatre. I would like to apologize to council. I provided some inaccurate information at our organizational meeting on the theatre, or the regular meeting right after the organizational meeting, on the number of tickets that were sold by Landmark. I did not get that fully confirmed, and I apologize. It was an error. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a delegation. I see Lisa sitting away over there on the right-hand side. You're going to come up and tell us all about the library's ins and outs.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for the opportunity to chat with you today. I am going to be brief. I'm not going to tell you all the ins and outs of the library, but this is the time of year when we annually come to you and request an annual appropriation for our next year, for you to consider in the budget for next year. And with that, I send a letter. I've also sent you our 2026 to 2030 plan of service, as well as our 2024 annual report for you to review. Just as an overview, I'll let you know that the library decided in our budget planning not to ask for an increase in an annual appropriation over what was requested in 2024, though we will acknowledge that insurance and audit costs, which on our budget is a separate line item, that it responds to what our charges are. And so we do anticipate a small increase there. That decision was made because in 2026, we are celebrating our 75th anniversary here in Brooks. And for that, we're planning a lot of events and programs for the community, but we do have a small pool of overages from previous years where our services have done well, et cetera. And we want to be clear that we're trying to fund all of those extra extracurricular activities through our own service fundraising and not through the appropriations that you provide us. And so that's one of the considerations that went into trying to give a very static number in our request. We want to help do our part to be fiscally responsible in the community. I was asked to keep it to 5 minutes, and so I can answer any questions that you have, or if you feel like there's something pertinent to the documents that I provided, I'd like to answer your questions.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for the library and Lisa? Go ahead, Mara.
Through the chair to Lisa. Lisa, thank you for the excellent job that you do in our community, and thank your staff as well. Through the budget process, I didn't catch how many people work with you at the library? Like, what is your staffing component, full and part-time? Do you have that on top
Our
of your
total
head?
staff is 14.
Okay.
It's a significant increase when we made the change 8 years ago from the old facility to the new facility. We've seen a doubling in foot traffic now. We've got some good stats to show that, a doubling in foot traffic, and it's almost double the square footage. So that really contributes to the staffing requirement. We're also open 58 hours a week, which is commensurate with Medicine Hat. Actually, they decrease their hours at some points in the year, and we do out-hour them every year.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks for the fantastic job you do over at the library, because every time I go there, there's a lot of people in the library. And does everybody here have a membership?
Well, I try not to go and spy on people's, personal records in the library, but I can say that a few of you could come and visit us, and we can get you some memberships and get you set up.
Okay. So memberships are easily available to anyone?
I just have to verify your identity, so,
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Carried. Correspondence and information. We have updates from council conferences and/or workshops, council conferences, committee reports. Councillor Phillipson, you had something that you wanted to report?
It's included in our agenda package, and if there is any questions, you can ask.
Okay. Does anyone else want to make any comments about the conferences that we attended or not? Okay, well, then I will. I had the opportunity to go to Alberta Municipalities Conference in Calgary. The AB Munis Conference saw a record attendance of over 1,300 delegates. Key sessions focused on effective advocacy with provincial decision makers, managing complex behaviors in governance, and strengthening the relationship between council and chief administrative officer. And I kept on looking over at Doug because I got this beautiful book on a council workbook on employment of the CAO. So if anybody wants to read this one, I do have it here. 14 policy resolutions were passed addressing critical issues such as affordability, infrastructure, funding, property taxes, extending the lifespan of fire equipment, which was put forth by the city of Brooks, right, Kevin? And seniors housing and reducing barriers to post-secondary education, while grants in place of taxes were restored. FCSS funding remained unchanged at 16%. Meetings were held with MLA Dan Williams to discuss school concerns and with MLA Devin Dreeshen regarding infrastructure and roadways. And a kind of a notable statistic presented was 40% of Albertans do not pay tax, which I found quite surprising, but that was the statistic that they gave at the meeting. The next week, I had the opportunity of going to Rural Municipalities Conference in Edmonton. The RMA, which represents 69 members covering 85% of Alberta's landmass, focused on significant fiscal challenges. The primary goals were to recoup $253.9 million in unpaid property taxes from oil and gas companies and to address a collective infrastructure deficit of $17.25 billion for roads and bridges. Policy discussions covered a wide range of topics, including funding for protein programs and food banks, increased funding, Lisa will love this one if she's still here, for libraries, enhanced rural police enforcement, and creating a sustainable fee model for registry agents. Minister forums addressed issues such as water reuse for fracking, trade with the United Arab Emirates, funding for women's shelters and mental health programs, and the viability of rural post offices and the continuation of veterinarian programs. Also, I was able to attend the county, 911 meeting, and we had a lot of good discussion there about municipal requisitions, and a motion was passed to remove the municipal requisition for 2026, which amounts to $39,900-ish, and include a priority channel request, which will give us 3 extra channels to work on making sure the safety of everyone is paramount. And the cost of that was $15,731, and we eliminated an unused supplies line from the budget. Community Futures, at the Community Futures meeting, and surprisingly, I just met the fellow here just this afternoon again, Mike O'New presented on the federal procurement program at CFB Suffield, highlighting opportunities for local contractors in fields like roofing, plumbing, and electrical, as well as emerging needs for drone technology. It was also noted that both provincial and federal budget cutbacks are negatively impacting their programs. And also, like I said, I was able to attend the Festival of Trees, Rotary Days Near Pipeline, Community Foundation Awards, the Remembrance Day ceremonies, Community Foundation and Medicine Hat event. I had a school tour here with the youth from the Composite School. I judged a Create a Country program at the Christian school in between Brooks and Dutchess, and I attended very many craft shows as well. So overall, it was quite an exciting past few weeks that we had, both in Calgary and in Edmonton. So that's all I have, and I also went to a session on budgeting and finance. So that's kind of important because we'll be coming up to a budget time coming up here very shortly in December. And also you have I don't know if anybody else wanted to chime in from A.B. Munis or not. Do you want me to read your report? Or do you want to read your report?
No, I do not want to read my report. It was
Okay.
part of the agenda package, and if there's any questions, just
Okay.
ask.
Thank you. Also, we have the minutes from the Municipal Planning Commission minutes for October 15th, 2025, Newell Regional Solid Waste Management Authority minutes from October 16th, 2025, and the Municipal Planning Commission minutes from October 30th, 2025. And it has been moved by Councillor Johnson that the following items of correspondence be received as information, and that was the conference workshops, conference committee reports, Municipal Planning Commission minutes of October 15th, Newell Regional Solid Waste Management Authority minutes of October 16th, and Municipal Planning Commission minutes October 30th, 2025. All of those in favor of accepting the correspondence and information? Carried. Thank you. The next item, number 7, subdivision 2025-0-158, direct control. And that will be Galvin. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the Chair to Mayor and Council, we have for your consideration subdivision 2025-0-158. The purpose of the application is to create a 5.07 acre municipal reserve lot from a title of 17.88 acres for public use. The proposal is to accommodate the subdivision of an existing title into two separate lots, with the westerly portion presently containing a pond and open space, whereas the remainder of the lot is slated for soccer fields. Access to the proposed lot is from Greystone Close East and the soccer fields from 17th Street East. The lots proposed meet the minimum size and dimensions required in accordance with the land use bylaw regulations. The lots are located within the Southeast Sector Area Structure Plan. The land is identified on Area Structure Plan Map 3 as open space for proposed lot and parks and recreation for the future soccer fields. The proposal complies with the criteria of the land use bylaw, the Southeast Sector Area Structure Plan, and the Municipal Development Plan. We did have a late submission from ATCO Gas, and ATCO Gas states that they have no objection. Therefore, this evening, the recommendation is that the direct control subdivision of a portion of the southeast of 33-18-14 to create a 5.07 acre municipal reserve lot for public use from a title of 17.88 acres be approved, subject to the condition that the municipal reserve lot be dedicated as such on the final plan of survey. If you have any questions, I'd be willing to answer them at this time.
Okay. Councillor Johnson?
Through the chair to Gavin, I do have a couple of questions. To be clear, I want to know firstly, why are we subdividing the land? It looks like currently it's being used for green space, and with it being also attached to a soccer field, which could also be park / green space, what's the need to subdivide? That's my first question.
Yeah, maybe Lisa would want to chime in too. My understanding is that there was some concern over adjacent landowners that the area with the pond be protected. And further, that the area for the soccer field is going under lease, and that pond area is not meant to go under lease. So if Lisa had anything further to add, I'd ask her to chime in.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Johnson, Gavin's correct in that when the lease was signed between the Brooks Soccer or Grassland Soccer Association and the City of Brooks, it was only for a portion of a larger parcel. And there was a request during all of the development of the agreement and the soccer fields that the portion where that pond is, that's immediately adjacent to the Greystone neighborhood, has always been treated as a green space and a pond, and they would like to see it preserved as a green space and not developed into soccer fields or not leased to a user group. So that's why we are the applicant in this case to get that portion subdivided out so it can remain just green space, not soccer fields.
Okay, second question, or more follow-up to the first question?
Through the chair to Director Tiffin, thank you. I wanted that clarification. So just to confirm, it's going to stay as green space, and we have confirmed with the adjacent landowners that there's no objection to that at this time?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Johnson, it was actually the adjacent landowner's request that soccer fields not go there. There's a naturally occurring water body there as well, so there's some significant drainage requirements that we wouldn't really be able to develop on that part of the lot anyway. So a formal subdivision, creating of a new lot makes it so.
Councillor Regner?
Is there, sorry, through the chair to Lisa, is there an intention to put a fence up to separate the two parcels?
Through the chair to Councillor Regner, I don't believe so at this time. I believe that the Grassland Soccer Association had talked about fencing their portion off, but I'm not sure if that's a for sure thing that'll be happening with development or not. We don't know at this time.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Phillipson that the direct control subdivision of a portion of southeast 1/4 33-18-14-W4M, certificate of title number 141-076-88-2+1, to create a 5.07 acre or 2.05 hectare municipal reserve lot for public use from the title of 17.88 acres or 7.236 hectares be approved, subject to the following conditions. The proposed lot 1 MR be dedicated as municipal reserve on the final plan of survey. All those in favor? Carried. The next item we have is reappointment to the Municipal Planning Commission. And Bailey, are you doing that one?
Thank you, through the chair to Mayor and Council. Sin Zhang is a current member of the Municipal Planning Commission with her first term concluding on December 4th, 2025. Sin is seeking reappointment to the Municipal Planning Commission for her second consecutive 2-year term. Therefore, the recommendation is that Sin Zhang be reappointed to the Municipal Planning Commission for a second 2-year term commencing December 5th and ending on December 4th, 2027. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Regner.
With that coming to her term coming to an end, was that put out to the public as far as there being a position open?
So current practice under the current MPC bylaw is that we would advertise when there's a vacancy. So when there's nobody in the current position, we would do an advertisement, then it would go to MPC for a discussion and they would vote on the successful proponent. Current practice has been that for reappointments, because the bylaw states that they shall be eligible for reappointment, that doesn't happen, where it doesn't go out for another vote by the MPC.
So eligibility just means an auto renewal then if it's not put out for somebody else to apply for? Because then this is a 2-year, 4-year, 6-year, 8-year until such time as they decide to make it vacant.
Yeah, so the bylaw prohibits how many consecutive terms any MPC member can serve, but it's just in alignment with what our current practices have been in accordance with the way that bylaw has been written. So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
What's the maximum somebody can be? 2, 4, 6, 8? What is it?
The most recent amendment of the MPC bylaw allowed for 4 consecutive terms. Previously had been 3 consecutive terms, then you have to take a year and then serve again. But right now it's 4 consecutive terms of 2 years.
So if council was to say that we don't approve this, would it then go out to be posted and anybody could apply?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Councillor.
Is the change in bylaw recent for the 4th consecutive term?
I would have to check what the dates were. I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but I can get that for you after.
Please.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Regner that Xin Zhang be reappointed to the Municipal Planning Commission for a second 2-year term commencing December the 5th, 2025 and ending December the 4th, 2027. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, carried. The next item is signing authority for grant applications. That being, okay,
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we need to have a council resolution to appoint a staff member to sign our grant applications, and it is typically done by Amy, our manager of legislative services, and we're recommending that she be appointed as the authorized signing authority for the city on grant applications. and we do that by title rather than name of the individual in case there's a change in the position. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Nesbitt that council approve the manager of legislative services to be authorized to act as a signing authority for the city of Brooks as it relates to grant applications. All those in favor? Carried. The next one, I think we might.
Yes. Do I do it officially?
Yeah.
Through the chair, I would like to remove myself from the room while you do this discussion and vote. Thank you, because of the fact that I work at Brooks Housing Society.
And we'll call you back in after the vote. We won't leave you out there. Anyway, Brooks Housing Society, request for legal title. So that will be Director Tiffin.
Yes, through the chair to mayor and council, the city of Brooks has received a formal letter requesting the donation of a parcel of land located at 235 Meadow Lake Way. And this donation would be in line with our previous practice for the property at 531 Meadow Lake Way, which was donated to the Brooks Housing Society in 2022. Although the land has an assessed value of $438,000, Brooks Housing Society has built a number of buildings upon that land, and the city of Brooks would not be able to sell this parcel to any other purchaser. The city does not collect property taxes for the parcel, as Brooks Housing Society is exempt under Section 363 of the MGA. The city of Brooks council has three options before you today: that you could deny the request and continue with a lease agreement for the land. You could sell the land to the Brooks Housing Society for an agreed upon amount. However, this would not be in line with our existing lease agreement and the relationship between the two parties, nor would it recognize the important and valuable work being done by Brooks Housing Society. Or you could donate the land and transfer the title at no cost to the Brooks Housing Society. If this is done, the city of Brooks would likely register a restricted covenant on the title, granting the city the right of first refusal upon any proposed sale or transfer of land, including situations where the Brooks Housing Society were to become insolvent. So at this time, staff recommends that council donate the parcel to the Brooks Housing Society and that the transfer of land have provision for the land to be returned to the city of Brooks.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. Through the chair to Director Tiffin, I just had a couple of quick questions. In the package, I did not see a map of the proposed land that we're speaking of. So I'm not sure. So it does say that we previously donated 531, and now we're talking about 235. Am I correct on that?
Correct. So 531 was donated. It's currently a vacant piece of land. It was donated in 2022 to the Brooks Housing Society, and they are working on a plan now to build upon 531. 235 is what they would refer to as phase 1 and phase 2 of their Prairie Village complex, and it has 11 buildings already built upon it.
Okay, so I have a couple quick follow-ups, if that's okay. So 235, the one that we're talking about today, currently has buildings on it. And it has a 30-year lease that we have to be, because that's been here since I've been in Brooks, so at least 18 years in. Why are we asking for a 30-year lease to be changed halfway through the term, I guess is my question.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Johnson. This request came from the Brooks Housing Society. Through the process of working on their new development for the property at 531, they feel that it would be advantageous to own title so that they have more net worth, essentially, as perhaps a better way for them to access funding like mortgages to fund the development of their new buildings at 531.
So then my follow-up question to that, sorry, just if they were to become insolvent and there's mortgages on that land, what are we opening up the city to in potential of not getting that land back or it going to a mortgage holder? Sorry.
Yeah, through the Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, I did receive a legal opinion on this for that exact purpose. So there is currently no mortgage on the property at 235. That mortgage was paid and is done. So for us to donate that land, there would be no other mortgage or lease or whatever registered against that land. The land at 531, which we've already donated, they already have the title to that, that would be the development and the build that they would be looking to get mortgage on.
Councillor Phillipson.
My question is also about, through the chair to Director Tiffin. The question is also about the two lots. So if we donate the lot as a city, we want to put a restriction on there. If they dissolve, it goes back to the city. Would that also go for that first lot that was donated 18 years ago?
Through the chair to Councillor Phillipson, the first lot was only donated in 2022. But yes, there is a restrictive covenant on that donation as well, against that title. For right of first refusal as well, there's a restrictive covenant on there that they need to begin construction on the land before, I believe it is April or March of 2026. So they have received a development permit, but they haven't started construction yet. So part of the city's donation was that you also have to build upon this land. You can't just hold the land for decades and not actually develop it. So it would be in line with and consistent with what's been done in the past.
Councillor Johnson?
Sorry, just one final question, I promise. Through the chair to Director Tiffin, are you allowed to, when you donate the land, also put a covenant on there that you can't put a mortgage on a land that's like 235 that already has buildings on it? Or is that restrictive, or how does that work?
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, that one I don't know, so I'll defer to Doug.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we can put a caveat on the lot to protect our interests where the land comes back to the city. You cannot put a caveat on to prevent a mortgage going against it. However, for them to put a mortgage against it, they would have to get our permission through the caveat. So there is a way to deal with it indirectly.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Johnson that council donate Plan 0412605, Block 3, Lot 14, which is 235 Meadowbrook Drive East, to the Brooks Housing Society, and further that the transfer of land has provisions for the land to be returned to the city in the event that the Brooks Housing Society becomes insolvent or decides to divest themselves of this property.
Through the chair, can I just make can we vote on an amendment to that? Sorry, just based on what I just asked.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm assuming the amendment you're going to make is regarding the caveat, and you could move that the motion be amended to include placing of a caveat on the property to protect the city's interests.
Okay.
So that's so moved. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, so do you want to write that up? And you got it?
You do have those forms underneath where you said there that you could write it out if you do wish to do so.
I think if my terminology is correct, I think I want to vote for council if they want the caveat in there, and then if they do, then we make a motion on the whole thing as revised. Am I correct in saying that? So I guess my request is to make a motion to my amendment first.
Yeah, it has to be written up first. Okay, so it was moved by Councillor Johnson that council donate Plan 0412605, Block 3, Lot 14, 235 Meadowbrook Drive East to the Brooks Housing Society, and further, that the transfer of land has provisions for the land to be returned to the city in the event that the Brooks Housing Society becomes insolvent and decides to divest themselves of this property, and now also added to it, the motion be amended to include.
Point of order. I think what Councillor Johnson is asking for is actually a vote on the amendment only for now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's no point in changing the motion. We don't want to
Okay,
change
so
it
you
until
just
the
want to vote
motion's
on the
approved.
amendment.
That's correct. And then
Okay.
if the amendment passes, then we would change it.
Okay,
That's my understanding.
okay. That the motion be amended to include, or actually, I guess, to include the placement of a caveat to protect the city's interests on 235 Meadowbrook Drive East. Okay, correct? Okay. All those in favor? Carried. So now we'll vote on the, what I was reading before, motion by Councillor Johnson that council donate Plan 0412605, Block 3, Lot 14, 235 Meadowbrook Drive East to the Brooks Housing Society, and further that the transfer of land has provisions for land to be returned to the city in the event that the Brooks Housing Society becomes insolvent or decides to divest themselves of this property, and be amended to include the placement of a caveat to protect the city's interests on 235 Meadowbrook Drive East. Correct? Yes. Okay. All of those in favor? Carried unanimously. The Government of Alberta proposal of Highway 1, I guess we should, eh? Government of Alberta proposal of Highway 1 speed limit increase. Director Shantz.
Thank you. Through Chair to Mayor and Council, the Government of Alberta Transportation Economic Corridors is seeking the City of Brooks' feedback on a proposal to increase the speed limit from 110 kilometers per hour to 120 kilometers per hour on selected divided rural highways. This initiative is to help rural Albertans who commute long distances save valuable time each day. So there's 7 divided highways under consideration. All of them are under provincial jurisdiction and exclude the low-speed portions which run through urban areas, towns, or First Nations lands. The one that applies to the City of Brooks specifically is Highway 1 from Banff to the Saskatchewan border, which is approximately 400 kilometers in length. Consultations with the City of Brooks RCMP Detachment Commander, Fire Chief, and Lead Community Peace Officer regarding the proposed speed limit change on Highway 1 as it affects the City of Brooks area have occurred. Noted concern by all 3 individuals is that an increase in speed limit may have a negative effect on levels of damage and trauma that occur in motor vehicle accidents at the high incident areas of Highway 1 and Highway 36 junction, as well as the Highway 1 intersection into the JBS Food Canada Incorporated facility. So the Government of Alberta is completing a highway construction project to assist with the traffic flow and safety to the JBS Food Canada Inc. facility through an alternative route. So the discussion options presented to the City of Brooks Council are option 1, the City of Brooks Council will provide the Government of Alberta with a feedback letter of supporting opinion to increase the proposed highway speed limits from 110 kilometers an hour to 120 kilometers an hour. Option 2 is the City of Brooks Council provides feedback to the Government of Alberta of a dissenting opinion. And option 3 is the City of Brooks Council will abstain from providing any feedback to the Government of Alberta as it pertains to a highway speed limit increase. All 3 options still allow for the City of Brooks and residents of the province of Alberta to provide personal feedback to the Government of Alberta. There's an online survey, and the link has been provided in the documentation to the individual residents. So financial implications, there's no anticipated cost for the City of Brooks. All costs are expected to be covered by the government of Alberta if implemented. Recommendation: administration recommends option 1 above, that the City of Brooks Council will provide the government of Alberta with a feedback letter of supporting opinion to increase the proposed highway speed limits from 110 kilometers an hour to 120 kilometers an hour, as outlined in the background information provided by the government of Alberta. I open up for questions and comments at this time.
Okay, anyone with any questions? Anne Marie or Councillor Phillipson?
Through the chair to Director Shantz. So you had a conversation with RCMP, and they say that we have a high motor vehicle incident area by JBS Center. They do say that the collisions at a speed of 120 will be more severe than they are at 110. Yet the recommendation is to go with option 1, where we recommend increase of the speed. So, you know, I was thinking, if we make a recommendation for the whole province of Alberta, I don't feel qualified and knowledgeable enough about all the other roads to make that recommendation. So my first choice would be to abstain, but send a letter as a region that we lower the speed limit to 80 from Highway 36 to the west entrance of Brooks until such time an overpass and the JBS access road is changed.
So to the councillor, through the chair. So as far as the voting decision is only on what's been presented by the government of Alberta, which is the increase in speed limit. If the council so chooses to make recommendations to the RCMP or to the government of Alberta about changing those speed limits, it can be done at a later time. I know we do have some upcoming RCMP meetings where you can consult with the detachment commander directly on his opinion, and then we can present to the government of Alberta if you want to propose a change at those areas or the feedback. But as far as this presentation, the feedback the government from Alberta is looking for currently is just on the increase.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does, except from your report, I would think we should go for option 3 and not option 1. You know, we can discuss it.
Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Rigner.
Through the chair, the recommendation as far as for us here in Brooks, our discussion, I believe, was the 80-kilometer zone from the overpass to Highway 36. We could do that at any time, really, but what we're voting on now is for over 2,000 kilometers of highway, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so for
So
us...
there's seven total highways, the councillor, there's 7 total highways, and they're listed on the front of the package for the background. So there's a section of Highway 1, which is the one that pertains to Brooks specifically. But yes, it would be providing feedback on all 7 highways.
And so for us to hold that back, where we could actually apply today, just like Chestermere has their 80 zone, Brooks could apply today to the provincial government to have our speed limit lowered. And if we did that to 80, if they changed it to 120, we'd remain at 80, correct?
Correct. So if you notice at the front too, it indicates that it excludes the low speed portions that run through urban areas. So that would be the areas you're referencing. So any ones that have been modified on the highway already, like Chestermere, like you used as an example, those are excluded from the increase. And it would be similar if Brooks went forward with presenting to the government of Alberta for decreases in specific areas.
Okay, for myself, I'd be happy with option to agree with the recommendation, with the idea of looking at converting us to a safer speed for the collision, less impact, for bad outcomes, I guess. Yeah, so that's how I would be looking at it today.
Are you going to say something? Okay, any other questions? Okay, at the AB Munis convention, the Honorable Dreeshen had informed us that from the survey that had gone out to the public, and I don't know if the number has changed, you might have a little bit of knowledge on that, but the last number that I heard was that 72% of the people who voted on it were in favor of going from 110 to 120, was the last number I heard.
Yes, the mayor, all the numbers I have are speculation. I don't have anything concrete at this time.
Okay, thank you. So, if there's no more, okay, Councillor Phillipson.
Just through the chair, one last remark is, we're voting as a city of Brooks on this one, where each individual person can do their own voting too. So are we okay with that, to give an opinion as a city of Brooks?
I think we are. Yep, it's been requested of us. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Regner that council provide the government of Alberta with the feedback letter of supporting opinion to increase the proposed highway speed limits from 110 to 120 as outlined in the background information provided by the government of Alberta. All those in favor? Those opposed? Okay, carried.
Through the chair to the CAO, would it be appropriate for us to make a motion requesting that letter be directed to the Minister of Transportation, outlining exactly what Councillor Phillipson described, a speed limit reduction through that quadrant?
CO.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Nesbitt, council can direct administration to prepare a report, either for committee or council, on the reduced speed limit on a section of Highway 1 through the city of Brooks, and then we would bring a report back. Thank you.
I think it would have to come in report form, right? Yes. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
okay, so you want to make a motion to that effect? Okay, that we get the letter written to that effect?
Through the chair to Councillor Nesbitt, would you like to do this as a whole region? Because it will affect, Dutchess, Bizano, Rosemary, or do you want to do it as?
Go ahead.
Through the chair to Councillor Nesbitt, I think we would need county requirement. I'm kind of in favor of that region. I understand why it has to be two separate motions. But because the Highway 36 is county, it's not city, so I think we would need to discuss that with county council as well. But I would be okay with that conversation for sure.
I think Highway 36 is in the county, but it's still owned by the province. So, there we go. But yes, we do. I would like to see the County of Newell and other communities have the opportunity to join us in that proposal. Yes, most definitely.
Okay, so what we've got here is that the city review the possibility of reducing the speed limit on Highway 1 through the city of Brooks and area to 80 kilometers per hour? Or just reduce the speed limit?
To you, Mr. Mayor, I would leave it open. Let our director and deal with the proper agencies, and they'll bring a report back through committee to council. Thank you.
Okay. So the motion that the city review the possibility of reducing the speed limit on Highway 1 through the city of Brooks and area. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Transportation study, Director Sari.
Thank you. Through the chair to mayor and council. The Alberta Community Partnership Grant is available for funding a transportation study. The study would assess the 10-year traffic growth in key intersections, coordinate traffic signal timing plans, review pedestrian crossing treatments at key locations, and update the previous transportation master plan. Council's approval and support is required for submission of the grant application and transportation study.
So the motion, or is there any questions of Director Sari? Okay, motion first, okay. Moved by Councilor Idris that council approve the subdivision of 2025-26 Alberta Community Partnership Grant application in support of the Regional Transportation Study Project and is prepared to manage the grant project and related compliance requirements. Questions, Councilor Johnson?
Through the chair to Director, sorry, I have a couple of questions. First of all, just confirming that the scope of work is planned to be funded entirely by grant, is that correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, that is correct.
Okay, so my second question is, I don't think we all need to know what intersections are probably pretty critical that we want to have transportation studies on, but is this a city as a whole study, or is this on specific intersections? And if so, can ourselves or the public provide input on what they think may be critical intersections to be addressed?
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, the intersections that we're looking at to address are currently the ones that already have traffic signal lights on them. We will be looking at an additional 9. Those will be based on what was addressed in the previous transportation master plan and any correspondence or information we have received between that plan, which was done in 2018, to now.
Okay. You want, Councilor Idris?
Thank you. Through the mayor, following up on this, there was a lot of discussion when we donated the rodeo grounds to the Catholic school around that stretch there, whether it is the intersection of 7th and 2nd or the other. Is that going to be part of this?
Through the chair to Councillor Idris, because that is coming up, they're looking at the 10-year horizon as well. And that is also being looked at through the school itself.
Okay. My other question is actually on the scope of the study itself. We have talked about public transportation in the community for a long time. I don't know if the viability of a public transportation system could be under or could be funded under this.
Through the chair to Councillor Idris, the grant doesn't address public transportation.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay. Seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Idris that council approve the submission of the 2025-26 Alberta Community Partnership Grant application in support of the Regional Transportation Study Project and is prepared to manage the grant project and related compliance requirements. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Safety Codes Contracts, Director Tiffin.
Yes, through the chair to mayor and council, the city of Brooks released a request for proposal for the provision of safety code services on September 24th, and it closed on October 17th. 3 submissions were received from Superior Safety Codes, Park Enterprises, and the Inspections Group. The proposals were evaluated based on criteria outlined in the RFP, and also each of the proponents were interviewed by staff. While all 3 proponents displayed great professionalism, had sufficient experience, and had the capacity to provide a high level of service, staff at this time is recommending that council accept the proposal from Superior Safety Codes and enter into an agreement for the provision of building, gas, plumbing, and electrical safety codes disciplines.
Okay, thank you. So it has been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that council accept the proposal from Superior Safety Codes and enter into an agreement for the provision of building, gas, and plumbing and electrical safety codes disciplines commencing January 1, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2028. Questions? Councillor Nesbitt.
So just as a question about the percentage, I'm assuming that's based on the permits that are paid for. And do you have a certain percentage for different permits that you receive? Just a little clarification on that part, please.
Sure, yes. Through the chair to Councillor Nesbitt, any permit that is, safety codes permit, development permits are different. So safety codes permits that are paid, the City of Brooks keeps a portion of that payment, and the remaining percentage is paid to our contractor who does the processing of the permits and all of the inspections, permit issuance, and so on. So part of the RFP required each of the proponents to basically propose a percentage split, which unfortunately is not public information because it is a unit price. But that percentage split would be applied to all 4 disciplines within the safety codes agreement. So the same percentage split would apply to building, gas, plumbing, and electrical.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? Councillor Johnson.
Through the chair to Director Tiffin, just a quick question. In these requests for decisions, it does say that we are looking ahead and have applied for accreditation under the electrical, plumbing, and gas safety codes and disciplines. What is the anticipated date of accreditation?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Johnson. When staff first applied for the additional levels of accreditation for the sub-trades, we had anticipated to have it in place by August 2025. But we have hit some hurdles and some barriers that we are working through. At the time of submission of this RFD, we had expected to be fully accredited on December 15th, but that has since changed to now being January 26th. So we are very much looking forward to being fully accredited, and January 26th will be our official takeover date.
Okay. Councillor Phillipson?
My question has been answered.
Oh, okay. Any other questions?
Through the chair to Director Tiffin, I just, because it wasn't in our information package and I understand, I guess my question is, how close were these bids in terms of like how they rated A, B, and C? Like, was this a very close race or?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Johnson, in terms of all of the intangibles, it was a very close race. The interviews and the reference checks, all of that came through very, very, very strongly on all 3 firms. The final decision ultimately came down to the unit price that the 3 different firms were offering. And there was a pretty large split between those, almost a 20% difference between the firms, all 3 firms. So it did come down to, in the end, the percentage split that would be most favorable for the City of Brooks.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that the council accept the proposal from Superior Safety Codes and enter into an agreement for the provision of building, gas, plumbing, and electrical safety codes disciplines commencing January 1, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2028. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Next item is the lease agreement for the Mosaic Theatre Society. Director Tiffin.
Yes, forgive me in advance. I'm going to probably go through this in more detail than I normally would, but there's been lots of questions about this, so forgive my long-windedness. The City of Brooks recently purchased the Oasis Theatre, and along with the due diligence inspections, staff has also been working to establish a nonprofit society which will operate the facility. So this group, the Mosaic Theatre Society, will operate at an arm's length from the City of Brooks. They will lease the property and implement a business plan as they see fit. They will recruit board members, solicit donations, they'll apply for grants, they'll implement programs, and they will hire staff as required. So this arrangement is consistent with other city-owned facilities, which are leased to independent, nonprofit organizations, such as the Prairie Pioneers, the Brooks Bandits, the Spec Association, everyone really in the community cultural center, such as the Newell Integrated Child Care Society, and tenants at the JBS Canada Center, the Brooks Curling Association. So the attached lease document in draft form covers all of the necessary provisions and is consistent with other nonprofit leases with the City of Brooks. So a few points for consideration, just that I'll go over. The term is 10 years, plus an option to renew an additional 10 years. The total rent under fees, Section 3, is for $1 a year, so $10 full for the total term. The use is specifically that no part of the premise may be used at any time for residential purposes or as sleeping quarters. So staff found that important to add in there just in case. And that the tenant can sublet the premise or a portion of the premise, but would require written consent from the landlord, which is the City of Brooks. The lease also states, which is consistent with other leases under the city, that if we're leasing to a nonprofit society, that tenant may only sublease to a nonprofit organization. And this exists just to protect the city from leasing somebody a facility for $1 and then seeing that group potentially profit by leasing to a for-profit at market rates. This is certainly up for change. There is a for-profit tenant in there right now that is a good tenant, and with the City of Brooks having the power to approve or deny all tenants, we may wish to take that line out, which gives the option for for-profit tenants. The rental income from the lease agreement is nominal. Like I mentioned, it's $10, so there's no real big financial implications with this. And we've put the operational onus on the tenant, which should further prevent any negative financial implications for the City of Brooks. So Clause 4 states that the tenant shall be solely responsible for the costs related to utilities, insurance, and other operating expenses. The tenant, under Clause 8, shall at its sole cost and expense be responsible for all maintenance and repairs to the premises. And under Clause 10, there will be no obligation to pay property taxes, as this would be leased to a nonprofit society. It is not who owns the building, it's what the use is in the building, and this would be for nonprofit purposes. So with these details in mind, staff is recommending that council approve the agreement and enter into a lease with Mosaic Theatre Society for the operation of the theater. But open for any questions.
Okay, so it's been moved by Councillor Phillipson that the council approve the agreement and enter into a lease agreement with Mosaic Theatre Society for the operation of the theater. Questions? Councillor Johnson.
Sorry, Councillor Falkenberg. I saw your hand up first, but he looked at me first. Couple of things, just points of clarification that I would like. First of all, in the request for decision, second paragraph, it says staff has also done the work to establish a nonprofit society. I want clarification, maybe from the chair, maybe from the director, that this nonprofit is not affiliated with the city. Is that am I understanding that correctly? So maybe the wording in that is maybe off?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Johnson, correct. The wording is off. The staff is not running the nonprofit society. There's no affiliation.
So can we maybe get that amended a little? I have a couple more. In direct respect to the lease, I would like to, maybe I don't know if I have to make a motion to this, but typically I have three things. Typically, a 5-year term is in line with most commercial spaces. I don't know how the rest of council feels like about that. There was a section also within the lease request where it talks about routine upkeep. I believe it is in section 8. However, I don't understand. I need clarification of routine upkeep versus major repairs, whose obligation that is. And then, again, when it comes to that, any renovations, removal of any equipment, or adjusting of equipment for the new thing, does that come back to council for approval, or within the lease, are we giving the society the free will to do that? I guess that's my questions. Thank you.
And through the chair to Councillor Johnson, there's no definition for routine upkeep or necessary replacements. So I guess what we would have to do is just defer back on how past practice has been with other, like buildings, city-owned buildings with nonprofit tenants, and look at it that way. The lease does say that there's, if there's any deterioration or damage caused by operations, that would be on the hook for the association would have to cover those. But it doesn't talk about act of God or anything like that. That's that could occur. So we can either amend the lease agreement to further define that so that there's further clarity there, or we could just have it be our practice to defer back to to current practice with other facilities.
Through the chair to Director Tiffin, I guess maybe what I would like, before approving a lease, maybe table it, but I would like to, we mentioned past practice, but I don't have an understanding of what that is. So maybe that would be helpful, because it says routine upkeep, necessary replacements. If there's a major flood in the building, for example, whose responsibility is that? If the second floor caves in, whose responsibility is that? If the roof caves in, like Councillor Nesbitt had mentioned before we were looking, I just want to think, I would like some clarification on whose responsibility that is.
Yeah, and I can say through the chair to Councillor Johnson, a number of our facilities, such as the Prairie Pioneers, we still have our facilities department do the routine upkeep and maintenance of those facilities, including the CCC, JBS Canada Center, CRA, et cetera. So because we, the City of Brooks, are already doing the typical grounds and maintenance and that the building maintenance work, would be probably why there's no good, clear definition of routine upkeep. So we can definitely clarify that clause in there, amend the agreement.
Okay. Councillor Nesbitt, you had, or Falkenberg, you had a question?
Not a question. I want to make a motion to amend the agreement to clarify the number 9 item assignment and subletting, just to allow for the for-profit business that's currently in there. And the way it's stated is that the premises may only be sublet to non-profit organizations, which would not allow that business to continue on the premises.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's being written up. Councillor Nesbitt.
Through the chair to Director Tiffin, sorry that I didn't say that previously in my request for information. There was the comment made about the 10 years term that's put into the agreement. Can you give us a bit of background where that term comes from? That would be one thing. And another question that I'm wondering about is the equipment that's in there right now, like the screen, the projector, the chairs, everything in the front area there. Would that remain as property of the actual building? Would it be attached to the building? Or I'm a little unsure about how it would work in the agreement under the termination part, in that either party may terminate this agreement prior to the expiry by providing the 6 months. Upon termination, the tenant shall vacate the premises, remove all property belonging to the tenant, and return to the premises to the City of Brooks in good condition. What I'm wondering about is whose property will that be when they take over the property pieces that I just spoke to?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Nesbitt, the clause 7 states that the premises as is. So essentially, the City of Brooks would retain ownership of the equipment and items within the facility as of now. So that would remain the city's property.
And the 10-year term?
Oh, my apologies. The 10-year term was our lease agreement with Prairie Pioneers as well. So it's just consistent.
Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
So I would like to ask Councillor Falkenberg, can we wait on this motion till I ask a question?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So we are leasing the building, the whole building, including the business. Is there any consideration for us signing the lease with the for profit? Is there?
Through the chair to Councillor Idriss, right now the lease is that the Theatre Society would lease the entire space. The space that the for-profit tenant is in right now would essentially be a subtenant of the Theatre Society. The City of Brooks does have the option to look at the space as 2 separate spaces and have 2 separate leases that they can lease the retail portion up front where there's a current tenant, and then the remainder of the space to another nonprofit association. So right now, current practice with the city is that, for example, we lease the entire building to Prairie Pioneers, whereas at the JBS Canada Centre, there's leased portions of that building with several different leaseholders. So there are those two options, and it would be up to council's direction.
So based on what you are suggesting now, you would like to lease the whole thing to the society, so the rent from that for-profit business will go to the society?
Through the chair to Councillor Drees, correct. It is our understanding that the current leaseholder who holds that lease is leaving anyway. Their lease expires, and the person who's signed the lease, would like to leave anyway at the end of January.
The business is closing?
Yes.
Okay. That's one question. The other question I had in the lease itself, there is no requirements for the society to actually have insurance on the building.
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Drees. It would be, the city's standard practice would be for a tenant to hold public liability and property damage insurance of up to 5 million and tenant legal liability insurance of 1 million. It's not stipulated in the lease, but it certainly could be, just to
Can we
further
have that in the
clarify
lease?
that.
It just says they are responsible for the insurance, but it doesn't say we require you to have insurance. Okay. And then the term, just a comment, I like the 10-year term, especially with the termination clause. The termination clause is very, very open. We can terminate just by giving them a 6 months. So rather than every 5 years or every 3 years, us going through this again, having it the 10 years, and then if we have anything happen, we have the 6 months clause. Financials. Let's say that the society works and makes millions. Are they keeping the millions? And we are out.
Through the chair to Councillor Drees, in that great scenario, that would be up to the society and what their own documentation essentially states that they have to do. Of all of the subtenants and tenants that we have at the city, some are much more successful than others, and we don't dictate what they do with any of their profits. They're all non-profits. So if that means that they grant out any surplus that they may have, or whether they take that and put it back into their own society, their equipment, or their programming, we unfortunately can't dictate that.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Phillipson, could you have your, okay, Councillor Johnson.
2 points, just through the chair to Director Tiffin. Again, I think you misspoke. My understanding is that the for-profit business is not closing. How I read it, they were moving. So I just want to clarify. And I just wanted to double check into that point. Has the city or anybody reached out to them to offer them a new lease, and was that considered before this one? That's my question, first question.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Johnson, I'll tiptoe around here a little bit because there's some privacy, but the business that's in there right now, there are three essentially like partners. Their lease is expiring, and the person who signed the lease is not interested in renewing the lease.
Okay.
She is, and one of the other partners are going elsewhere.
Right.
The third partner would be interested in creating a new lease, potentially under a different name, under a different business license. I'm not entirely sure. But that third partner, there is some interest. So, which is why, and Councillor Falkenberg made that motion, that it may be advantageous to just leave that option in the lease that the society could rent to a for-profit. This still has to be approved by the City of Brooks, regardless of who they sublease to anyway, so.
And sorry, I apologize again because I'm new and I'm learning. Just again, going back to like the Prairie Pioneers where they lease a similar space, if their space, at the old library, that's what I'm going to call it, if that roof caved in, hypothetically, is it their insurance that would pick it up, the city's insurance? Like, who's on the hook for stuff like that if there's major repairs to be done? I just want to have clarification on that.
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, the landlord, another standard clause in our agreements would be that the landlord, the city of Brooks, is named as an additional insured person on their insurance, and it should go through the tenant's insurance if the roof or something were to cave in.
So to clarify, if there is major repairs on this building, that would not be on the city. Is that when I'm, like, it would be under the society's insurance or the society's responsibility? I'm hoping, I'm looking at other council members, maybe you guys can help me out.
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, if it's an insurable expense, it could go through insurance. If there's a hailstorm or something like that, then it would go through insurance. If there are major repairs needed, which there have been over the years at the curling club or at the CRA, then I think that would probably have to come back to council for consideration, whether it's something that council chooses to have the theater society look at, or if it's something that the city of Brooks could put in a capital budget. But I can again defer to CAO Legore if he has anything.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this property will be included in the city's insurance policy as of December 1st, 2025. Now, how our policy works, we have a blanket policy. We list all our assets, both mobile and stationary, fixed, and this will be included in that. So when the hailstorm came through, as an example, there was damage from that. That is claimed under our general insurance policy.
Sorry, Mr. CAO, I think my clarification is, once we let a society go in there, right? And if they're doing minor renovations or anything, and something more major pops up that was not in an initial inspection or that, whose responsibility is it for that to be done?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that would be covered under our general insurance policy. Similar to what would happen if you had an incident where something happened at the curling rink or the CRA, any of those facilities.
Just wanted to clarify, because sometimes there's tenant insurance versus ours, and that's where I was going with that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, there will be tenant insurance where they have to have a comprehensive liability policy.
Councillor Regner.
I have my own list of questions, but to follow up on this one here, we are initially told that there's $100,000 that we're approving. After that, there's no cost to us. So if it's on our policy as far as the building goes, are we breaking that portion out to give a bill to the nonprofit?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the addition of this facility will not change the cost of your insurance one cent.
Okay. For my other set of questions to, through the chair to Director Tiffin, I know that you and Mitch Iwasa have spearheaded the purchase and the wanting this, and I commend you for that. Great job. Couple things that come to mind. The board that's being formed, the two of you are on that board. If a lease was signed today, as far as the president, vice president goes, who would sign that lease?
Through the chair to Councillor Regner, I do not know, excuse me, who the society or soon-to-be society would elect as their president and vice president. That would be for them to decide. So they have not given us those exact names. There's a number of individuals that are on that board.
Okay. The second thing would be on there is you say at arm's length. With you being a city employee and being a board member, I just want to be clear to the general public that the city's not ongoing through you, that you're doing this on your own. So can you give me some arm's length examples?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Regner, agreed. I would also like to be very clear with that no city staff time, although a city staff member may choose to sit on this nonprofit society, the work is not done 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So any additional time that is spent on this by any board member would be on their own personal time. So any time in the setup of the society or making society decisions or the programming of this facility will not be done by city staff during city staff time.
So is it fair to say that going forward, if recommendations have to come to council in regards to that committee or organization, that you would not be presenting that?
Yeah, through the chair to Councilor Regner, that could be completely appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Nesbitt.
Through the chair to Director Tiffin again. So going forward with the lease amendment, can we please have, with the condition that we be provided with a financial report annually, along with a little bit of an update as to how the society is doing, and just to keep, I think it just is a good idea to keep in touch with the group because it is our property. Do you think that is something that could be arranged as a
Through the
condition,
chair to Councilor
please?
Nesbitt, we can add a clause that states that an annual report be given back to City Council if that's desired, and that would include a financial report.
Excellent, thank you.
It's being done right now. So the first amendment that we have is to amend section 9 to provide for the subletting of space for profit groups. That was presented by. Okay. Okay, all in favor of that one?
Sorry, to clarify that motion, are we only talking about that one part of the building? Or the whole building?
No, just that part of the building.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear that in the motion. My apologies.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Now, the other amendment by Councillor Nesbitt was that the motion be amended to include a clause for annual financial reporting. Any questions?
Annual report to
Yeah, annual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should say annual report to include financial.
Yes.
Okay.
Annual report to include financial report.
Okay, that the motion be amended from Councillor Nesbitt to include a clause for annual reports in addition to financial reporting. That the motion be amended to include a clause for annual reports in addition to financial reporting. Okay, all those in favor? Carried unanimously. So back to the original motion, moved by Councillor Phillipson that council approve the agreement and enter into the lease agreement with Mosaic Theatre Society for the operation of the theater and with those amended clauses. And the clauses being from Councillor Falkenberg to amend section 9 to provide for the subletting of space for profit groups, which was carried unanimously. And from Councillor Nesbitt that the motion be amended to include a clause for annual reports in addition to financial reporting, which was carried unanimously. Okay, everybody got that? Okay, so again, all those in favor? Okay, carried unanimously. We're moving on to bylaw 2527, repealing the bylaw. Are you speaking to that, or?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, what is before you is a bylaw to repeal committee bylaws. I want to make it clear that we're not suggesting that these groups be discontinued. What we're suggesting here is that the city would no longer have a bylaw that regulates these committees and appoint people to them. The Municipal Emergency Management Agency bylaw has been replaced with Regional Emergency Services Planning now. The other one that we're talking about is the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Board, the Environmental Advisory Board, Eco Brooks, and the Environmental Advisory Committee, Eco Brooks, and the Environmental Advisory Committee, Eco Brooks bylaw. Those are amendments to the original bylaw. And then there's an amendment to the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Board, another amendment to the Advisory Committee, Eco Brooks, and then the establishment of the Use Committee. We have already sent a letter, and I'm just going to refer to it as Eco Brooks, to appear before a budget meeting to make their presentation to council, requesting funding that they need for 2026 and the programs that they want to implement. Arts and Culture Heritage Board, we understand that that group is satisfied with the decision of council that they are being repealed. They have no concerns about it. Is what we're being told. With that, I'm prepared to answer any questions, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'll do, because we ask questions after the second reading, okay? So I won't bang this too loud because everybody got upset with me the last time. Moved by Councillor Nesbitt that bylaw number 2527, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to repeal bylaws of the city that are obsolete, be introduced and read a first time. All those in favor? 3, so 4. And opposed? 3. Okay, so carried 4-3. So moved by Councillor Johnson that bylaw number 2527 be read a second time. Now, are there any questions? Okay. Okay, Councillor Idris.
My first question is, we heard, why are we dissolving the Emergency Management Committee? Why are we dissolving the other 3?
Through Mr. Mayor, the question, I guess, is in reference to Eco Brooks.
No, Eco Brooks, Arts and Culture, because we are dissolving 4 committees,
Yes.
but we heard the reason for dissolving 1.
So the reason we're suggesting that we remove the bylaws for these committees is that there is quite a bit of time required from staff to support these committees, and we don't have the resources to support them. We're not suggesting that the groups be disbanded in any way, shape, or form. We're just suggesting that they become standalone groups outside of the city, and that they will apply to council for their budgetary requirements.
I understand that. Can I continue? Okay. So I understand the time requirements from staff, but by us voting today, for example, to dissolve these bylaws, these committees do not exist because they are a creation of the city, right? As it stands now, they are a creation of the city. So by basically dissolving these bylaws, these committees are gone. So, for example, you mentioned that Eco Brooks is coming to the city to present their budget, but Eco Brooks is not going to be there legally as we know them.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the Eco Brooks group that would come to budget presentation on December 10th, I believe is the date we've invited them to appear before, would come as an independent group, would not be coming as a city group.
So, again, if we believe these committees are, or these groups are useful and they are doing good things, why don't we try to go into some sort of a transition process where once we feel that they are able to function independently, then we dissolve them from here? Because what I'm afraid is going to happen is we are going to dissolve them from here, and then the work, the good work that these committees is doing will be just lost.
Through you, through the chair, Mr. Mayor, we consider this as a transitioning plan, as that we're transitioning them away from the city.
Okay, I'm going to stop here.
Councillor Regner?
Thank you, through the chair. To Mr. Legore, you said for the Arts Committee you heard, did you hear it or did we get a letter from them?
It was a verbal discussion through you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so we have nothing in writing. In terms of, we had mentioned at one time, asking them to come and present what they do for the community, especially Eco Brooks. We're not going to do that, but instead we're going to, today you want to repeal them, the bylaw that created them, as Councillor Idris said, and then we're going to invite them back to justify them being a board or to continue for our funding. Would it not be easier to table this, or can I make a motion to table this and let's look further into this before killing it, if you will?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, council is free to table at any time. That's your choice. They've already been invited to appear before the December 10th budget meeting.
Okay, then I'd like to put a motion to hear them out before we make a decision.
Through the mayor, before we make that motion, I just want to clarify two things. The Youth Advisory Committee, Mr. CAO, has no members currently. I just want to clarify, that was one we never spoke of. Am I correct in saying that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there has never been a youth advisory committee. A bylaw was passed, was never actioned.
So, and the Municipal Emergency Management Agency has been changed to a different committee. So I think, Councillor Regner, you would like to make a motion. Can we adjust this to speak about only the two current committees? That would be the Arts, Culture and Heritage and Eco Brooks, and we can then speak to the other two? Or is that not something that we can do?
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, you can make a friendly amendment to that. Falkenberg.
I just want to reiterate the point from city administration that they've said that we do not have the staff to maintain these committees. So they would end up being on their own anyways. So to continue the way they are, making this, repealing these bylaws allow them to do that work.
Councillor Ridders?
In that case, I would actually like to, although I know it's not in the agenda, on the agenda today, I would like to make a motion to bring these bylaws to council to modify and take out the staff requirements. I'm actually, and I say it with all the respect, I value the staff time, and I think there could be better work that could be done without that. So I don't have a problem with the staff not putting their time. As councillors, we could put, because my understanding is that these committees are actually one of the ways we as councils engage with the community. So I think we should explore all the different options to make these committees function better and support the work that we do better before we repeal these bylaws.
Councillor Phillipson.
Well, we can keep going on this, but I think we're all kind of saying the same thing, except the approach to these rescinding of the bylaws is maybe a little bit different. We can rescind all 4 bylaws. When the 2 committees do a presentation to us, we can maybe again help them with setting up their own group, making a bylaw without staff time involved. So we're kind of all going towards the same goal, but the way we approach it is maybe a little different.
Councillor Nesbitt.
Through the chair to Council Group, I think it wasn't just the staff time that was being removed from these bylaws, it was also the council member. Like that was the other component that we're not discussing here, like nobody's mentioned that component. Part of the reason we were doing this was because of we were looking forward to our budget adjustments and things like that. We valued the time and efforts that our staff and the board members put into these committees. So I look forward to hearing them come back and make presentation to us. And I think that going forward, we will see them, we would encourage them to continue to come back in and talk to us anytime they come up with a project that they'd like to do. And we go from there, just like we would with other opportunities in the community. So thank you.
So what you're saying is you'd like to repeal the bylaw, okay? CEO Legore.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there was a letter sent to council on November 17th, if I have my date right, by former councillor Ray Juska. And what he was proposing was basically a transition plan for EcoBrooks, if you recall that letter that was sent to you. And when they make their presentation to council on December 10th, that's where you can build upon what is being proposed by the EcoBrooks group that come forward at that time.
So what I'm hearing overall is that the bylaw would just be getting rid of basically staff time and counselors' time. Is that what I was hearing?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
And also, if we did away with the committees at this time and had a presentation by whether it's EcoBrooks or whether it's EcoBrooks and the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Group, they can come in and make a presentation to us on their requests, and we could also then form another bylaw for those two groups. Is that what I'm hearing? If required.
That is correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councillor Regner.
Okay, so this goes to kind of the cart in front of the horse again, in terms of I'm asking for more time versus what you're saying now is we approve this or repeal this bylaw to listen to somebody to put another bylaw in place. I just think for us to wait another 2 weeks to do this I don't think that's too much to ask. We're just tabling this, and when they come here and they present, and if they present amazing and we want to be involved in that, whether it's a counselor sitting on there or whether it's however it's to be structured, all I'm asking for, I believe Councillor Idris and Councillor Johnson the same, is we're just asking for the time to do that. So let's just, table it, give it a couple weeks, and hear what they have to say. And then we can go from there. And if it means delaying this for 2 weeks, maybe all unanimously will agree in 2 weeks that we repeal it, and we go forward from there. But let's just slow it down. Just slow it down.
Yeah. Any other comments? Okay, we've got a new motion. And the motion is that we table bylaw 2527 until December 15th, 2025, after we have heard from the two groups. Okay? Yeah. Okay.
Does this have to be anonymous? Or not anonymous?
Unanimous.
A majority only is enough to table. Okay.
Well, yeah, it would have to be unanimous because okay, majority. Yeah, because we're not going to the part 3 of this one. Okay? So we're voting on the motion presented. Amendment to the motion presented by Councillor Regner that we table bylaw 2527 until December 15th, 2025. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, carried. Okay, we've got a motion to move into closed session, moved by Councillor Regner, that council close the meeting to the public for agenda item 9A. It's a land matter as per section 19 of the ATIA at 6:15. All those in favor of going there? Carried.